guys? It's Chris,
Ryan,
and SVT Garage. Kind of, I guess it's exciting to us. This is going to be our entryway into starting maybe like a channel, kind of like podcast. So don't be too hard on us.
Yeah.
You know, we're this is our first doing anything like this, so just kind of bear with us. But being in the car community for as many years as we have been, we thought that maybe a car pod, kind of
just car talk.
Yeah, kind of just some car talk and something that we can have some insight on roughly, I don't know, once a week.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking, we're going to shoot for maybe Sundays.
Yeah.
Depending on obviously schedule and stuff like that. So bear with us. If you guys like it, comment below, shoot us a like.
If you don't like it, comment below and tell us what to fix.
Tell us what to fix. This is again, we're kind of getting our feet wet with this. So just bear with us, help us out. You guys have been super supportive of the channel just in general, and we're trying to keep that engagement.
Yeah.
We want to keep, the comments coming and you guys just watching our stuff. I think that's the biggest thing. And me and him were just brainstorming on, what we can do just in general to keep that engagement. Mm-hmm. So let's get this going and we'll get right into it. All right. So the first, I guess, pod series we will go with, I guess, we kind of want to just go along the lines of what we both know, and that's Ford. Well,
I'm not a Ford guy. I like the Mustangs. That's really the only Ford I've owned. I've owned a lot of different cars.
Yeah, you probably have a little more verse on the other end of the cars.
Yeah.
Me, I
appreciate anything that's fast. I've had Trans Ams, I've had Subaru WRX cars, I've had a bunch of different stuff.
Had my feet wet in other, different, platforms, such as Civics. I had Nissan 200SX SER back in the day, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But I still always, at that time of owning those cars, I always owned a Mustang.
Yeah.
My first car was a 70 Torino that I bought when I was 15. So I've just, and that honestly stems from my dad. My dad was a car guy through and through. But he was, growing up, he had the old school, the Chevelles and Impalas and Mustangs. But for some reason, we always, in my family, primarily had Fords. And I think what happened there was growing up, he had this 58 Ford F100. Mm-hmm. And I just remember that thing, 3 on the tree and all that. And I think it was engraved in my DNA at that point because I love the Ford product, and I've just always just stuck with it. Now, don't get me wrong, I would love to buy a bucket list car for me, and it's really not out of the realm. I would love a C5 Z06. Yeah, something like that. I do think that there's something to a heads cam intake LS.
Mm-hmm. I had the opportunity to get a C5 Z06. Must have been around 2013. Original owner, low miles, electron blue, completely stock. I think it had 20,000 miles on it. And it was a friend of mine's dad who was going to sell it to me for 18.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I had a lot of cars, and that was kind of one that he was looking at.
It fell through?
I just wasn't in a position. I had just gotten hired with the fire department a year or so prior to that. And financially, I just wasn't there. And I also had the Coyote at the time, which was a money pit because of the transmission and everything else.
That was a silver one, right?
It was a gray one.
It was gray. Yeah. Gray.
But, and so growing up, my dad wasn't really into cars. He had cars when he was younger. He had a Duster. He had a Firebird. I think it was 69 Firebird. If you watched my interview on my silver car when I first got that, I told you my first experience with anything quick. My buddy had a Stage 3 SRT4, and he took me for a ride in that. I was 16 years old.
Dude, I remember those.
Younger than that, and that was my first time where I was like,
and it ripped.
It ripped.
I mean, I remember when the SRT4s came out, and you're like, oh, it's a Dodge.
Yeah.
But those things,
mm-hmm.
even like today's standards, built, import, whatever, that line of car, they're still very impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And I would still love to get my hands on something like that. I do always have that itch for an import. I don't even know if you know this, about 8 years ago. I don't know what happened. I woke up one day and I was like, I want a Supra. I want a Supra.
Mm-hmm.
And there was, this guy had a right-hand drive, 94, something like that, manual. It needed to get put back together. The motor was in it, the tranny was in it, but the drive shaft was out. It was a big turbo car, and he had it up for sale or trade. And I actually was considering trading the red car for it. I was just,
Yeah.
And when I pulled up in the red car and me and him were talking, the guy was like, I'm going to be honest with you. Seeing your car and seeing this car, I can't let you trade it. And he wouldn't do the deal because he's like, I would be able to sleep at night knowing that you traded that for this. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah, man, these aren't equal right now.
Yeah.
And that car he was building it for just high horsepower, straight line, drag car. And it had that vibe in it. A lot of it was gutted. It was all there, but anyway, so I didn't do the deal. And then the second time I went and test drove, it was an R32 GTR, like a real GTR.
Yeah.
Now, that deal didn't go through because I was like, I can't get rid of my car. I can't do it. So I did not. As you guys see, I still have the car. I've had that thing for about 12-ish years now. So I always have that itch for something imported because I do like it.
Mm-hmm.
But through and through, I've just been sticking with the Ford stuff, and my dailies, the F-150. I've always had that red car. Got the mineral gray car, and how that one came in. If you guys haven't seen the video on that thing, I wasn't looking for another Terminator. I was actually looking for a Lightning. I still want to do a Lightning. I still want to do a Lightning build, and I have these ideas in my head, paint, everything, and there was one in Sarasota. I was literally within the next 3 or 4 days gonna go look at it. The guy that owns the mineral car messaged me and said, "Hey, I want to sell my car. Do you know anybody?" And I was like, "No."
Mm-hmm.
And obviously,
me. Yeah, and you're like, "What do I do?"
I called him. Yeah,
get the Cobra because Lightnings are cool, but it's hard to pass up on.
Correct. And
low mile Terminator,
extremely well documented. 2-owner before me, and it was like it literally bought and resided from both owners in St. Pete. So it's a local Florida car, and I was like, I can't.
Yeah.
So it's here. I love it. Once I'm in another position, because I don't like getting rid of cars, I will add a Lightning to the fleet. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah. I'm a car guy. I like anything that's fast. I also like my Jeep. I like Jeeps a lot. I like being able to go anywhere, take it off road, take it to the beach, take the top off when it's nice out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool. And the Gladiator. So I grew up with my Comanche that you guys have seen in some of our videos in the background. That was my grandfather's truck. And that's kind of what got me into working on cars. He had me out there changing the water pump when I was 8 years old with him. And I just remember the Jeep being the thing, that was his baby. And I sold it recently just because I was ready to move on, and I wanted to get into another Terminator. So that was part of it. But I waited for the Gladiator to come out for a long time. There was concepts of the Gladiator back in 2004. So they didn't start making it. It didn't
really?
actually
that far back?
Yeah, there was concepts. They were calling it the Scrambler at one point, but there was concepts and stuff. And then 2018 is where it got real, where it was coming. And then, so I knew I had to have that truck. And at the time when those came out, I didn't have anything fast. I had a 2020 Silverado RST, and I saw a 2020 Rubicon Gladiator on the lot. I went and bought it.
Yeah.
And I had that truck, and I went all out with that thing, 4.5-inch lift, 37s, and that was my baby. Yeah. I had to sell it during COVID just because everything that went on. I couldn't justify keeping it. My wife lost her job at the time, and she was a trainer and the gyms were closed, and it was just a lot. So I had to get rid of that. But I've always had a truck except for a short period of time where I had the Coyote. That was my only car, and that was a lesson of your race car can't be your daily driver.
Your daily, that's that. I think we've all have had that same.
Yeah,
I was driving around a daily. My Red Fire car at the time was turbo, and I was dailying it, and it's high horsepower. I guess at the time, I think the car at that time on the Hellion kit was around like 740.
Yeah,
at the tire. That was before the E, and it's not like, I guess, conducive to daily.
No, you break it. You break. Like my Coyote it 8 transmissions because it was 700 horsepower on an MT82.
Yeah,
it was a nightmare. So I was bumming rides to work. I was borrowing people's cars, and I'm like, that's when I kind of got out of it and got into the trucks. And then I was like, you know what? When I get something, it's going to be, if it's down for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, it doesn't matter. Yeah. And that's what I like about the Cobras and that generation, those years of vehicles, is stuff you can work on yourself. Like the newer stuff, the 2020, 2018 up, there's so many computers and technology and, body control systems and body modules and all that stuff. You can't just rip it apart in the garage like you can those early 2000, mid 2000 cars, So that's kind of like where I stay. My bucket list car, absolute bucket list car, is the Terminator.
Yeah.
Dream car. Saw one when I was going into high school.
Yeah.
And it was a zinc yellow coupe, and that was my grail.
Yeah, so. I know it's your grail and it's your dream car. It's same thing. I've just been a Mustang. The first Fox body he drove was the other day when we pulled it off the trailer. Me personally, I went through high school in Fox bodies. I had one back in high school, and then that period moving forward, I probably, no joke, have had 12 or 13 of them. I love that platform and that body. I think they're fun. I like just how tight you are in there. I like just how generic. I don't know. A lot of people hate on the Terminators because of the interior on the car. It's plastic and the noise and this and that. And to me, that's like, because it's not my daily. It's not something I'm not driving to, down the coast on. It's just raw, and you feel the bumps, and the red car, even in stock form, they get away from you. And
it's an fun analog driving experience. Yeah. It's very, and like a lot of the magazines that are starting to review these cars again, like these cars are starting to become relevant again. Everybody says the same thing, Yeah. Why would you want a 20-year-old Mustang? Because you can actually drive it.
Because you can drive it, yeah. And you get that experience. And not saying that the newer stuff, but if you are on Facebook or you're on Instagram, a lot of the people, what they say is when they go from the Terminator to the Coyote and they go back to the Terminator, like, it was a different drive. And, that's, and when, again, that's not your daily, I think that's the biggest thing. And that's the biggest thing for me. Would I love a Coyote car? 1000%. I would love to do 10-speed auto, whippled, just all through the gear. I mean, the 10 speeds.
Yeah, it's good technology. Yeah.
The technology's there in them. Yeah.
It's there. But with the technology comes the inability to work on it yourself in some aspects. And the cost. I mean, you building one of those 10 speeds, or building a 6R80, or
even building a Coyote. How much is a Gen 3, Gen 4 Coyote? Just go for it.
I don't.
I mean, I remember when you would look at, you would see a Terminator motor and transmission on eBay for back in the day, like 14 grand.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
What's interesting though is how, all the manufacturers are phasing out V8s and, all that, and going to the EV stuff, which I feel like a lot of these car manufacturers don't have their hand on the pulse of car guys anymore. Like the Daytona Charger or whatever, the new Charger EV, they tried to make it geared toward car guys.
They have to do it
with the speaker in the back sounds terrible.
They have to do it with they have to add a speaker to the outside of the car.
Yeah. They've lost the connection with the muscle car guys, and the car looks good. I mean, it's a huge car. Everything new is big, but the design I can appreciate. It needs a Hellcat motor in it.
We saw that it's one of those things online or on paper. I wasn't a fan of the look of that car. We saw that one at the car show.
Yeah.
Great car.
Looks nice.
It's a nice looking car in person. Again, if you guys have only seen them online or on paper, whatever, give it an opportunity to see it in person. They do look nice. The killer for me of it is it's not.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, the new Ford Lightning, right? It's not a Ford Lightning. That thing should be called the Ford.
Well, they don't live up to the expectations that they're given. Like if you look at the towing video of that trying to tow, I think it was towing a boat or whatever, it had to stop and charge multiple times when the GMC diesel just powered through, fueled up, came back, and the thing was still charging.
I don't know if I can say this because it's a different channel or whatever, but Hoovie's Garage did that. He put I believe it was an aluminum trailer, the new Ford Lightning, pulling like a Model A or something, one of the old 1915, 1920 pickup truck with the wooden wheels. So how much does that thing weigh?
Yeah.
12, maybe
not
900 pounds.
Yeah.
And the charge or the pulling capacity or the miles, till empty, whatever, till dead was, it started at, I'm just throwing a number out there, 400. Pulling it was like 190. It wasn't even half. So you're like, oh, that's terrible. And that aluminum trailer with that little truck on there, and kind of getting into it. I guess the start of this podcast too is kind of like saying, in a way saying thank you to Ford, except for the Ford Lightning, the Mach-E.
At least they're still making a V8 manual car.
They are still producing what we love. Now,
I don't think anybody else is, right? Is there any? I mean, you got Chevy. What Chevy have?
The Corvette.
The Corvette. But as far as Dodge, they're not making.
But you have to. But here's the thing with Chevy. So they killed the Camaro. I did see something where they're bringing Pontiac back. Is that true?
I don't know.
So I saw a thing. You guys can comment below. Let me know if I'm crazy. But I just saw something. I think it was on YouTube that they had repurchased the trademark or rights or whatever for Pontiac. And now my thing is like, okay, we killed the Camaro twice. Let's bring back maybe the Firebird.
Trans Am would be good.
Yeah. So I don't know. Call me crazy. That would be awesome. Because I am a huge fan of a nice WSX.
Yeah.
I love the old school cars, the muscle stuff. But Chevy, off the top of my head, unless I'm having a brain fart, I think all they have is a Corvette. But you have to have
look at the price of a Corvette.
The pockets to do that. You're talking
the average
80,000 and up
guy
cannot
has been priced out of buying a modern new muscle car.
Yeah.
Like even when I was thinking about the Hellcat before I got the Silver Cobra, it's double the price.
Yeah. For
a car that isn't as fun to drive, in my opinion, is heavier, is bigger, and my silver car will handle almost any Hellcat I run into for the most part.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I went with the silver car, but the Hellcat was on the bucket list. Again, for a new one, it's over 60, 70 grand. I'm a firefighter. That's my main job. I'm not buying a $70,000 car to sit in the garage and not daily drive.
Right.
To begin with, I couldn't afford it if I wanted to, and then to have that as a toy, no way.
Yeah.
Not
at all.
And so you lose the V8 with Dodge. You lose the Hellcat, which was a solid competitor for years.
What do you have to buy now, though? The TRX?
Yeah, I don't even know. Are they even making? I don't think they're making any. I don't think they're making any more
V8
blown V8s. I think it's now the Hurricane. The twin turbo Hurricane is what you can get, which it's good. I mean, it's making good power. They're having good results, but longevity but we'll have to see.
But my pickup is the 2.7 EcoBoost twin turbo. I think it's awesome. I think it performs very well for being, a V6 twin turbo, but I don't care. That thing will never sound as good as the reason why I don't have exhaust on that truck is because I don't like how it sounds. I've been on YouTube. I've listened to every manufacturer on the exhaust on that truck. And I'm like, it kills it for me. You have a Coyote F-150 sounds amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the other problem with some of these manufacturers. Yeah, they're stepping down from the V8 to the, going to V6, twin turbo, whatever. But to me, it's just it's unless it's a, some of the BMW sound great. The Super sound, the new Super sounds cool with some exhaust.
Not a fan.
I'm saying
I'm not
a fan.
guy.
No, but I'm saying if you're
they
looking,
they sound good.
They sound good, but and then you go the other way. In order to sound really good, you have to buy some of these high-end cars, which again, you're priced out at that point.
Yeah.
So Chevy's kind of killed off their V8 market again, except for the Corvette. Dodge, I don't think has anything right now. Ford is still producing awesome Coyote cars. They got the Coyote trucks.
Yeah. And
you can the FP 700 package. You can basically buy any Coyote vehicle with a Whipple from Ford.
Mm-hmm.
So they're still in the game, and that's kind of awesome to see that. At least they're not. Hopefully, right now they're not. Hopefully, in the future they haven't caved into that.
Yeah, I think the EV push is kind of tapering off. Thankfully,
yeah.
There's a lot. I've been in a Tesla Plaid. I mean, it's fast from the line, but you get in the car and you step on the pedal.
That's it.
I mean, my daughter, my 7-year-old, could do that. Yeah. There's no driving experience. Is it fast from a dig? Yeah. Is it fast from a roll? Not nearly as impressive.
No. There's a lot of these combustion cars out there now from a roll that are doing better than some of these EV stuff.
Yeah. So the EV, the push for that, and alongside the maintenance and the disposal of the batteries and everything else. I work with a guy who bought a used Tesla. I think it was 4 or 5 years old, and wouldn't take a charge. He took it into the dealership, needed a new battery pack, $16,000 for the battery pack.
Just like that.
So he sold it. And he has an F-150, an older F-150 King Ranch, and he drives that now.
Yeah.
And but yeah, you lose the driving connection completely with the EV, in my opinion. I guess, is it good for your soccer mom that wants to go to Walmart and get groceries? Maybe.
Sure.
Is it for your car guy? I don't think so.
No.
You're not going to see. I did see a Tesla in Tampa the other day that was on welds.
All four?
That was pretty. It was pretty cool.
On all four corners.
Yeah.
I
mean, they can look cool when they're done right. It's just not my thing.
But what are you doing? Like, so me growing up in high school, the biggest thing was Fast and the Furious. So every car had a body kit.
Yeah.
You're not really body kitting Tesla.
Yeah. I feel like you don't really see that much.
You're not throwing besides the welds. I mean, you don't really see them doing are you doing a skinny wheel fat tire on this thing?
Yeah.
Are you doing some deep dish? I don't know. I just don't see for me, it's just, if you have a Tesla, I apologize.
It's interesting how the car scene has changed since, the early 2000s, mid 2000, 10, 11, 12.
Mm-hmm.
It's car meets and car shows. It's not really like it used to be. We used to go out every weekend and hang out, and, people would talk about their builds, and it would be just a hangout with the boys, and you go cruise and go to Mexico at night, mess around. Now it's like everybody just wants to do the rev battles where they pop the pop tunes. They have the cartoon, the dump fuel, and then it shoots flames. And I'm out there. I took the Cobra out to one of those meets the other night, and I was like,
"Stupid!
This is terrible. I feel old." It's not the car culture's definitely changed.
See, I agree with that, but reflecting and kind of doing some reminiscing on that same subject is back in Hernando County when I was, again, early 2000s, 2002, 3, 4, 5, around there. I can't, one day a week, Wednesday, at 5 o'clock, when the stores were closing in that Belks Plaza, it was a big, kind of outdoor mall. Yeah. That thing would be filled with cars from people who were 16 to 70 years old. And it was just everybody getting together because of the car thing. And that wasn't really a show, but it was just a meet. It was like that every week.
Yeah.
You can't find
the same people.
Yeah.
I used to go out with Mafia Motorsports. Like anybody in Tampa or Florida, for the most part, knows Mafia Motorsports.
That
Mofo Bucks, Havoc, Banknote, all those guys. There was a lot of guys that we would all consistently meet up every Friday night at Countryside Mall. We'd hang out in the parking lot at the mall. There'd be 30, 40 cars.
Yeah.
And then, half of those would break off and we'd go cruise over to St. Pete and hang out over there. And, we'd end up finding somewhere to mess around a little bit. And it was just fun. You could be out all night, hanging out, not doing anything crazy, just having a good time.
Yeah.
And it's not like that anymore. Like sometimes I'll just get in the Cobra and kind of drive around. And
we might have to start our own thing then.
There's nothing going on.
We might have to, because there's really not a lot of that going on.
And I'm not saying go out and street race, but just go cruise, take the car out for a ride,
enjoy with some friends, and chill.
Enjoy it. It's just changed so much. But I guess that's just with different generations and the way car culture has evolved.
I just hope we kind of snap back to reality a little bit with the car stuff. And I really hope that some of these manufacturers get back into they're the ones who supply us the platform to build on. And there's a lot of businesses that depend on that. You can name 9 off the top of your head. Those businesses obviously, generate income for X amount of, families. So what do you do? You just, again, I don't see myself ever owning something that's electric.
Yeah.
And I do enjoy the stuff I have. But it is a real concern because it's something that's kind of,
I think we're in a better position now with the administration we have for things to stay status quo with, combustion engines and all that stuff for a while, hopefully. I also think like the 03 Cobras and, the C5Zs, those are what the 69 Camaros are to our parents. Like to us, that's our 69 Camaro almost, like my dad will tell you all these stories about his 69 Firebird. And it's like, someday I'm going to be old and it's going to be the story, me telling my daughter the stories with the Cobra,
1000%.
So I think there's just different generations appreciate different things.
Yeah.
Cars.
And, we will always have that generational, car thing. And, again, I think for probably most people watching this, us, like it's what we have in the garage right now, and,
I don't plan on ever selling either of mine. I want to add more. Like my buddy at work was there was a company doing raffles for a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
I think it was an Aventador. So he's buying all these shirts and buying all these raffle tickets. And he's like, bro, what would you do if you won that? I said, I'd sell that and go buy 5 Terminators. Yeah. He's like, what? He goes, you'd sell a Lamborghini to get a Mustang? I said, absolutely.
Yeah.
I want nothing to do with that. I said, sell that and
yeah, they're cool. But also you put 3,000 miles on it.
Yeah.
How much is that oil change?
Yeah.
How much, they're expensive for a reason. You literally have to take half or most of the bottom or top of the car apart to get to anything on them.
Sounds like the Ion.
Sounds like the Saturn just that kicked our butt. That is still kicking our butt. We're still dealing with, but we got hopefully we got that. The parts coming in will fix that issue. It's just a nightmare.
I enjoy, as a car guy, I enjoy driving the car. I enjoy cleaning the car a lot.
Yeah.
And I enjoy turning the wrench on the car.
You yelled at everybody, like 2 weeks ago. If you're going to drive your car, guys, will you
clean your front bumper?
Clean your front bumper.
Wash your front bumper off after you drive your car.
Dad mode came out. And
and you can't do that with the new, the newer stuff. Like if you put a 2020 GT500 in front of me, I maybe could put an intake on it. I'm not changing pulleys. We're not doing anything with that DCT transmission. There's just, so I like to stay with my comfort zone. And I work on the Mustangs, but I can pretty much work on anything, a little bit older.
Yeah.
Like my mom had a Hyundai back in the day and I pulled the transmission out of there, went to Sarasota, got another transmission, put that in the driveway.
Yeah.
Like I'll turn a wrench on anything. I enjoy working on the muscle cars and the sports cars, but at the end of the day, I like turning wrenches.
And, the the channel, if you guys kind of came up with it, was you kind of saw the way it was going. Is I just did more like parts, car review, car talk out there in the garage, and the building side of it, especially by yourself, it's a lot.
It's hard.
It's hard, and me and him did that. You guys will, this should be dropping Sunday. If you guys are watching this, it should be Sunday. Saturday, you guys hopefully went and caught. We did the 1 day, start to finish, all done, back on the road. Could have drove it down the street, install of his clutch on the Red Fire car.
Mm-hmm.
But it took 2 guys to do that.
Yeah.
Just getting the.
You look at guys like Sullivan. I don't know how he does it by himself and keeps it, but he does long-term builds. Long-term builds, and so I think where we're at now is we have a couple other cars that we are hopefully going to be able to get our hands on here soon. We have the Fox that we're going to do, a build on that. It's not a crazy, No,
that for us are getting our feet wet with buying a project that's not our own. And, me and Ryan were talking and we do think the best thing for us, especially financially, and to keep the ability to keep the content moving, is take that and do it again. So we will be selling that Fox. And again, me and him talking about it I think that's the way to go. And we get to put a cool, clean car out there. People get to see our work. They get to see our vision and then drive it. And, maybe somebody scoops up a really nice car, because I can promise you guys this, if we do a car and we get it going on the road, it's not going to be crap. It's not going to be junk. It's going to be,
it'll be good.
You got 2 guys that are very OCD, meticulous about their personal cars, and you will see that in the stuff that we're going to start to do. So
that's why Sullivan does so well, because everything he does is gold. I mean, he doesn't cut corners. No. He's the standard for building a car. The guy should have a shop and have custom orders coming in to build cars.
Correct. And he's doing it the right way, though. He's doing it 1 car at a time. He's not, cutting corners. There's no BS there. And what again, shown on video, it's going out the garage. It looks like nice stuff. And it's not the same thing over and over again. But,
I'd like to do an SN95 Cobra, like a 96, 98 Cobra, coyote swap with a big Whipple, Gen 6 Whipple on there. That would be a fun, make that a clean car,
Get something nice body. Again, me and him, if you guys know us, if I could just like show you our texting chat and going back and forth, because both, I don't know if you guys know this, a little more personal here, we're both firemen. So when we're down at the stations, where it sucks though is we're on opposite shifts. So when I'm off my first day, it's his second off. My second day off, he's on duty. So we kind of get that 1 day within the 3 to start doing stuff. But if I'm at work or he's at work, we're, like I said, if you could see what we're talking about, we're always thinking ahead, always looking for the next thing. And we were talking about, and that's kind of where the Fox came in, like, hey, let's sell it. Let's do it nice. Try to, turn a profit on it, and then put that back into the channel, into the next car, so that we can, again, generate some steam with this, and, keep this going in the direction that it's going in. I think it's been.
Yeah, it's good. Well, for me too, the cars, are an escape almost. It's something that I have enjoyment in, and it kind of takes you away from reality for a little bit. So and even just getting in and driving it, it's just nice. But as far as building them, I do enjoy building them. I think if we do it at a pace that we're comfortable with, we won't get burnt out. One at a time. And
we say 1 at a time.
But
we're at like 4 at a time right now.
But those are our personal.
So that's different. But I think you're right on that. And I think if we just 1 at a time, we stick to it, and we just come up with a game plan and see it through. I think you guys will see some really nice cars come from this channel. I think so. I
have a decent piece of property we're talking about. I'd like to put a metal building out there, 8-inch slab with a lift, and AC, and that might be SVT garage.
2.0.
2.0.
Yeah.
So, and that would be a good spot to have. So I'm trying to work in that direction, and then, possibly trying to find a space, to have some lifts and stuff, because it's hard to do quality work on the ground,
So touching on that, there's a group of us in this, I guess, Bay Area here, Tampa side, that we all are on a Facebook messaging, and it's just Cobra guys. But we're looking for, especially me and him, we're looking for a garage that we can shop, so that we can kind of clean up some room in our shop, our garages, and do some work, because again, the stuff that we want to keep doing and keep getting our hands on, we do need a lift.
Yeah.
We do need some proper tools.
Well, and right now too, it's like if I want to do anything in my garage, I have to move both cars out, and then they're sitting outside for X amount of time. I don't leave them out overnight, period. Doesn't happen.
No.
So we got to, when we're finished, whatever we're working on has to be in a position that we can move it.
Well,
so then I have to move that out, move the cars back in. It's just, it's a lot. It's musical chairs with cars, pretty much.
Yeah.
So a space where we can start a project and just leave it there without worrying about it is what we need.
Walk away from it, sitting on the lift, come back the next day or two, whatever it is, and pick right back up where we left off, and not worrying about tripping over tools and all that. So, but we're gauging interest in this whole thing. Yeah. So it again, seems like this is what you guys want to see.
Tell us what you want us to talk. Tell us what you want to hear about. You want more car talk, mechanics?
Yeah. I think the next car talk though, Terminator versus Coyote platform. I think that is a big, that's a big discussion. Yeah. So we'll touch on that. We'll leave that there. We're going to throw out the zinger. Yeah. And we'll come back to that one. It sucks. It's going to be a week out, but I think that's a good topic right there. Because my brother, Keith, sorry, dude, but he's just, screw the Terminator. I have a Coyote. He's got a twin turbo Coyote. I think it's around 1,000 and some change at the tire. Built, I think it's a Gen 1 built, or it's a combination of Gen 1, Gen 2. Anyways, it's built top to bottom, and he's just, your Coyote sucks, but I get in my car and I love it, and I get in his car and I also love his car too. But I think that's the key is to have both. The key is to have both. Yeah. just have one of each, and nobody's angry at anybody. Yeah. So
there's a lot you can do to make the 4.64 valve competitive.
Sure.
The biggest mistake, we won't get into it all, but the biggest mistake these guys do is they stay low compression. Yeah. E85 is available. You shouldn't be building a motor with less than 10-1. Yeah, in my opinion. Right.
But we gotta
another day.
We gotta keep that topic for that day. Yeah. But again, guys, we kind of want to introduce ourselves today. We want to say just again, thank you real quick to Ford, especially for keeping these Ford cars alive and the drive. I know that the Coyote, was it Gen 4 now?
I think it's Gen 3, Gen 4.
They're locked essentially. You can't, you have to, you can't really do too much with them, at least last time I heard. So that kind of sucks. But, at least that brand is keeping our side alive, and that's really cool to see.
And thank you for you guys following us and comments and being, interactive with us. Tell us what looks bad. Tell us what's good.
Yeah. This is open.
Yeah. We're open to criticism. We're both firefighters. We
cannot hurt our feelings. You cannot hurt. I promise you. You could call them. Hey, I'm 5'5". I'm short. You could make all the short jokes in the world. I've heard them all. Not going to offend me.
Yeah. My first time recording the other day on the GT500.
Yeah, that was we had a little chit chat.
It is what it is.
Homeboy couldn't find.
I couldn't find the camera
with his eyes,
and then I'm holding the phone in different positions, so the camera's on one side and on the next video it's on the other side. Yeah,
but you did good though. Did good, and that comfort. Also, the comfort comes. I think the first 60, 70 videos I put out, I was faceless. Yeah, I don't want that thing looking at me. So you get comfortable. Whatever. We're here. We're getting there.
I'll turn the wrenches for now.
Yeah, no, we'll get you there. But guys, also we just want to say thank you, and again, leave some comments below. Shoot us some likes. Let us know hey, I would love for you guys to talk about this, or hey, I'm having trouble with this.
Mhm.
Do you have any?
Yeah.
Can you guys help us out a little bit? So
Yeah.
open to it.
Especially for the 03 Cobra,
Yeah.
04 Cobra, even the Lightnings. Like, we have a group of guys that have a wealth of knowledge on pretty much anything to do with these cars.
Yeah.
So if you can't figure it out, we might be able to.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
And again, this setup right here, this is temporary.
yeah.
We just threw some stuff out here just to kind of give it some ambiance. And
Right.
I do have a large collection of these Mastos. I went on a rampage about 8 years ago, and luckily through Facebook and Marketplace and anything else like eBay, and I was able to locate every color. And this guy right here, just real quick, there was a guy on Facebook. I can't think of his name, but I sent him a newer orange one, and I wanted red fire because they don't make a red fire coupe. They only make them convertible, and he hooked me up. So sent them I think he charged me like $60. So anyways, this is temporary for us. We have an idea of where we want to
We have
film.
a good spot
We're gonna work on. So we just want to get this out, do a formal kind of somewhat of an introduction, and just let you guys know if you guys like this. Let us know. We'll keep it coming. We're gonna do a couple of them and just keep shooting them out once a week. Not overkill. Try not to overdo it.
Yeah.
But we'll leave you with that.
We got some good stuff coming
We
on
have-
Red Fire.
We have really cool stuff coming on the Red Fire. Saturday's video should have dropped. Let us know what you think about that, because you guys are here today watching this. And anything else you want to say before we bounce?
That's it.
All right. Well,
SVT Garage.
it's Chris. It's Ryan.
SVT Garage.
SVT Garage. We'll catch you guys in the next one.